Yo,
Yo, what's going on, bro?
back again, man. Here to talk about financial energy, money and energy.
Yeah, what breaking down really what money is, because most of us aren't going to stop and take a look at this for really underneath the surface of what it means to us. Um, so yeah, let's pick apart money. Money to, I mean, and in the clearest sense is energy. You know, it really is energy. You can't do jack shit with a dollar bill other than hand it over to someone else or burn it for a fire. I mean, it's really just a social contract we've been born into, um, which is in actuality has a spiritual tone to it, which is the transference of energy. Do you agree with that?
I do. Yeah, it is a form of energy. It's a storehouse of energy. I think one way to look at it is that wealth is optionality. The more options you have, the wealthier you are. That's just a kind of a boilerplate way to look at what wealth is. And we love money because money gives us optionality. All other things being equal, under the social system that we have, money gives us that optionality to move energy in a variety of directions, to transact in a variety of directions. So
Yeah.
yeah, when it
So
comes down to it, I mean, anything could be used as as a representative of energy. Money as for various reasons. Money is a great way to store and transfer energy. We can get into all that, but essentially, yeah, I agree.
yeah, it's a. I think we all have to agree that also that we have a shit ton of programs around money that have been instilled into us. Money isn't inherently something we actually need. We've talked about this many times. We choose to be in this society that depends on money as a resource to obtain to go about our lives. But in reality, we could live off the earth, right? And we could be growing our own food, building our own houses, living off the land. Now governments and their you know sticky tentacles have made that more and more difficult. But nonetheless, that is the truth of life, like really is. So it's important to understand that by staying in society, we all agree to play our part in the money game. Now, I don't know if I don't think this conversation is going to go in the trajectory of talking about the Federal Reserve. It could if we want, but I feel like we may have touched on that. My thought is more about just going into taking on the responsibility of money in our own lives and seeing it more from not a dystopian or malevolent point of view, more of just it's a part of this life, and to take it just head on, just accept it and to take it head on.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, feel free to add what you got.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And money as we're going to look at it through a practical lens about finding money, finding a place for money in our lives and understanding how it relates to the other things that we do, how to relate to it in order to have a more flourishing life. And that, I think that does mean abandoning some of the programs that we have in our mind about money, about what it is and about what it's for, how it's used. And yeah, part of that is exactly what you said, changing the language around it and seeing money as just a form of energy, right?
Yeah, yeah. And this is actually a really timely conversation, I think, for the both of us, because it allows us to put into perspective more than just actually obtaining a dollar amount, but it's the whole process. It's A to Z. It's the how you actually earn that money, how you obtain that energy. Because subconsciously, a lot of us are driven towards money because there's the fairy tale story of wanting to own a yacht and $1 million mansions and
Yeah.
whatever else, and have that sort of like bachelor sort of movie style lifestyle. Um, So that subconsciously, I feel like motivates us, but it's not actually what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Peel back the layers a little bit, and you find that that can be a little bit of an empty thing because there's always another, whatever it is, another lifestyle thing, another material possession to chase. It's a really endless road. I think we're programmed with this idea that once we have this certain thing, it's kind of a cliche. Once you have this certain thing, once you've had this certain experience, you're going to feel this lasting fulfillment, and it's a great dream. It doesn't work that way. I can tell you from personal experience that
Yeah,
a lot of the many things that I once wanted, I now have. I worked hard, I saved up my money, and I got this amazing, way too expensive guitar. And it's great that it doesn't provide the lasting fulfillment. It's more about, yeah, there's a deeper layer there. There's a
yeah,
deeper layer. It's not just you get the money, you use it to acquire the things, and then that's the end of the story. It's there's a layer beyond just getting this money so you can acquire stuff.
yeah. And that's what like really is coming up right now as we begin talking here is like the process behind you acquiring the money before you actually acquire the materialism that that money pays for. It's it's more of just a holistic view on it, of seeing the whole process of it. And really, when you become an adult and you start to think about family or, taking care of your significant other, this is when that thread or that line that we walk on with how we obtain money, it becomes more narrow, it feels like. If you're trying to hold your morals and your values in the same container that you're trying to provide in from, because when you look at it from a very, very generalist point of view, there's a lot of ways you can make fucking money in this world. There really is. And it takes some balls and some grit to kind of go outside the norm in the box to see that. I think a lot of us try to play one role in our whole life to obtain money only one way. And then that is super confining, of course, right? But when we really step back, oh man, there's like an infinite number of ways you can make money. But then you have to ask yourself, like, the way I'm making money, is it really supporting like my soul and my body, my mind and everything? And the last thing I'll say is that um, and even if it doesn't fully align, many people that make money don't know how to actually spend their money wisely to live a happy, fulfilling life. They either don't spend it or they spend it on stupid ass shit, frivolous things that really give no value to the world, their spirituality, or their souls. You know, if maybe what you're doing is not the completely aligned and you're not a holistic priest and you're doing the most high thing that society thinks, um, you can still, I think, achieve that through how you expend the energy back into the world.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good point. I want to touch on optionality again, why I'm saying that wealth is optionality. The person who has the most options is the wealthiest person. I think that if we when we see money in a certain light, it can actually take away some of our options when we feel like we have to do, like you were saying, we have to do this one thing for money, and we need to have a certain amount of money, and we can actually kind of get confined by it, and we can start to lose our optionality. I think we have to remember that there's other ways to grow wealth in life, outside of money, that relationships and doing work that you care about, making a difference in the world, and things like that are other ways. And a lot of those things you don't need to have a lot of money for. Sometimes I think we start to lose some of our resilience and our optionality and our, just like, our zest for life, because we get so caught up in thinking that we have to have money first. You got to make money, like in this, like you were saying, living in this world and participating in this society. You gotta have some bread to to do things to be in society. You know, we're not going to steal, we're not going to raid, so we got to produce and make money. But
Not yet.
yeah,
Yeah, the I mean, I grew up in an interesting situation, right? So I more so had optionality, and it's a paradox. The optionality actually leads us to at some point needing to narrow the window towards decision. And as you know, the etymology of decision is essentially to mean to cut off,
yeah,
to cut off options. The optionality, in my opinion, with money is more so the ability to free ourselves from the systems in which created the fucking money. That's kind of where I see our intentions behind acquiring a certain number of or a certain amount of wealth to free ourselves from those constraints. Because once you are able to enter a certain income bracket, whatever, you're able and you're conscious, you can spend that money eating healthy food, which should be something that we just everyone has. But anyway, you're able to eat healthy food, spend time with your family, spend time working out, and all these other things that actually equate to a healthy life. It's not necessarily the money itself, but the freedom, I guess, it gives you. But like just going back to my life and having a lot of options as I grew up, or at least the superficial nature of it, at least it felt like I had a lot of options. Um, that was beautiful, but also came with consequences. Like there is a paradox. There's both sides. Hey, actually, I fucking just thought of this. I had a wonderful, wonderful thing that I learned the other day, and I'm sure you probably be fascinated by it too. Trees, they grow in two directions at the same time. You ever think of that?
no, actually,
It's fucking crazy, right? So they call it phototropic. The leaves are phototropic and everything. They grow up towards the light, and then the roots are gravitropic. I think that's the name. They grow away from light and they
mm,
grow down with gravity.
yeah,
So anyway, I mean that's just tying in duality and just like this concept of how options actually lead us to needing to make decisions in life, which narrows the path and everything. If that ties together in any way.
yeah. You got to move in both directions, I suppose.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to say with that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. That the optionality, it's good to have options, but you have to use the options wisely. And
Yeah.
you have to
Exactly.
do something with it. You know, if you're living on $2 a day, which some people are in the world, then your food options are you're having beans and that's like basically it. Like you're gonna have a can of beans or you're gonna have something like that. But if you're living on $47,000 a day, then you can have oysters brought in from the shores of Iceland, or you can have like whatever. Yeah, you can get goat from India, you can get anything. But then you have all these options and you need to decide what you're going to do with
Yeah.
them.
Exactly. Yeah. There's yeah. Yeah. Even with a lot of money though, there's consequences and there's stress that can come with that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think this is kind of leading us towards our entrepreneurial path that you and I are kind of embarking on together here. So let's give that some space here. And let's just talk about like what does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep leaning into the energy, money as energy idea as we go into this, because I think that it really is about the way that we're circulating energy in the world. If I'm going and spending my time and energy at a job, let's say, that I'm not really passionate about, like something that I'm not uniquely suited for, where my energy is not at its peak, then I'm going in and I'm just doing something that probably, you know, a million other people could do. Like I'm more or less just a butt in a seat. Like a million other people could come and do the same thing as me, and it would be about the same. The energy cycle would not be greatly changed by that, like disrupted by that. But if let's say that I pull back some of the energy that I'm making from that and I start to store up that energy, saving money. So I'm doing this job and I'm just putting in this level of energy, and I start storing up this financial energy, and then I get an idea, an entrepreneurship, that idea that I want to go into. I want to go into the marketplace and I want to provide my own thing because I've got this idea that's, I would say, it's at a higher frequency because it's more aligned with my higher energies. And then I'm able to bring that into the marketplace. I believe that I'm raising the total energy available out there for everybody by doing that. And I think that's actually, there's something really heroic and good about that in the way of being an entrepreneur when you go about it the right way. Like you said before, it takes some balls to to go and do that, to level up the energy um,
Yeah,
that you're bringing into
yeah.
the place. Yeah.
That's a good point. It's actually like, there's the energy of the money, but the energy of how you approach it too. There's like different frequencies we approach it from. And I mean, this is probably getting outside of our pay range right here, but um, I mean, I'm gonna learn about it at some point in life and be able to actually be able to spit some knowledge on it. But yeah, different frequencies. Like we can say it's coming from higher realms. Um, so yeah, when you're vibrating at a higher frequency, there's you could say maybe more love in life, more presence and everything of that nature. Yeah, entrepreneurship to me is inevitably what the world rewards, it seems. Like anyone that like goes all in on their entrepreneurship journeys, it seems like they succeed as long as they persevere and as long as they're all in and they are not, there's not one foot out the door. It just seems like the world fucking, that's what the world wants out of people. And it just, again, takes balls and the guts to get there to be able to be like, fuck yeah, I'm going to do this. Um, and then as you get older in life, it becomes harder because, well, you have other things to maintain as well at the same time. You got family, you got a relationship, you got a dog, whatever you got, you know, that takes stability and certain level of resources to maintain.
I think it can. Yeah, I think that there's a trend there. I think that some people are able to buck that trend. I mean, even like you and I feel like personally for me, there's never been a time where I feel more ready and more
Yeah.
capable
Well,
to
yeah.
be an entrepreneur.
But if
Uh,
you had kids right now, I'm sure you'd feel maybe a little different. Maybe,
perhaps.
maybe
Yeah,
not. Maybe not.
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that's actually a very big part of like my money journey, specifically with this acquisition right now that we've been talking about, which is another conversation we can delve into. But um, that acquisition, isn't 100% aligned with my spiritual nature. Of course, it's not the highest service I can provide for the world, but I value wanting to have a family and creating ways in which energy flows to me, finances flow to me abundantly enough to provide for a family and provide for a lifestyle that actually is healthy and where I can give back to more meaningful ways. It's it's more of a pillar and the foundation rather than the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. I think that it's all a connected cycle of energy, and what the energy that you're taking in financially, like putting it back out there, you're going to do this, you're going to make this business acquisition and you're going to be the sole proprietor of this thing, and it's not your greatest passion. There are things that you could do that only you could do or that are more uniquely suited to you that you can bring into the world. So your plan is to gather energy from this source
Yeah.
and then circulate it back out into the world at a higher frequency, in a better way. And I also think that's a beautiful thing as you're able to do that, because then your family, your kids are going to grow up around that kind of energy. They're going to see what that's like. They're going to see what that's like to see you circulating that energy. It's almost like I'm just seeing us as like a chamber where energy can get converted, like our life as it comes through our consciousness, our awareness, our field of action, like what each person is able to do. It's like, what kind of energy processing chamber do you want to be? Like the
Yeah.
energy that comes in, you can have it leave at a higher frequency. And I mean, you can
Yeah.
do that just with the person you meet on the street, like a conversation that you have, like you share
Yeah.
some energy, and then you can leave them you walking away with a higher frequency of energy. Again, like getting into the frequency stuff, that's also way above my pay grade. But that's what it brings up for me, is that it's almost like we're energy processing chambers, and money is just another form of that energy, exactly like you're saying. And we bring it in, and then how we put it back out there, how we invest it, and how we invest our time and stuff, our economic, like what we do with our economic activity, is how we process that energy. And it's really like a way to look at how we contribute to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing ourselves as these energy processing plants. And so, yeah, we're basically like Pink Floyd's,
The prism.
what was it? Yeah, his prism there.
Yeah.
Yeah, turning black and white into rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially that, or at least that's the ideal, right? That's where we want to get to, is being able to see the beauty in life and the color. And just I think that, this is kind of part of our journey here together, is in creating these videos and a podcast that, you know, no one watches right now. Um,
Yeah.
it's 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 already tapping into that frequency of raising, like, once we started this call, my frequency is raised and I'm tapping into something that wasn't there throughout most of my day before. So it's it's also combining, getting connected with others that share just a similar heart and similar soul's purpose, and that magnifies and just amplifies the frequency. So yeah, doing this together on an entrepreneurial journey will be just as fucking great.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. We're gonna have some really cool insights to share in here as we go on the journey. That to me is the best part. Yeah, I can't wait to share that journey with others, and hopefully have other people on here to share their journeys. People that have already climbed high mountains, people that are where we are, and just climbing their mountains. Yeah, people who haven't quite chosen their mountains yet, who are getting ready to climb some. Like yeah, want to have all those conversations. That's where the money's at.
yeah,
Get
yeah. The
bigger
dude,
and
the entrepreneurship society, or like group of people out there, whatever you want to fucking call them, that sector of the population is an interesting group. Um, and like I was going back to what was saying before, like you and I want us to be using this energy that we take in a beautiful way to continue to improve and grow a very happy, fulfilling life. Because I see so many times people just like not knowing how to actually dispose of their energy and to spend it in useful ways, and where it's actually like improving their life. Like I see it in a way where it's like someone who's following a workout program or like a workout regimen, eating program for X amount of time, that's not changing their body or their physique at all, you know? Versus someone who's actually following a really good structured plan and it's fucking making them look amazing. Um, you know what I mean?
yeah, we have to. I do. We got to be results oriented. We have to like keep the main thing is to keep the main thing. I forget who said that, but
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
actually some personal development guy who said that one time. But it's so true. We need to focus on, we need to remember what it is that we're doing all this for, why we're
Exactly.
yeah, we're taking these
Exactly.
actions because they're leading to the fulfillment of this project. And why are we doing this project? What is the reason
Yeah.
that we chose this project? Because we want to create more prosperity and beauty for ourselves, but not just ourselves, for the people around us, and not just the people in our immediate locale, but the world at large, ideally. And ideally, not just today, but tomorrow and for eternally. Like that's the context we want to think in. We want to keep expanding. That's what we're trying to do. Just keep growing.
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit. Like what what reasons pop up for you in pursuing the unconventional path in this world? Like not even just what you've done so far in life, traveling and exploring new lands and whatever else, but now entering this maybe adult way, but also maintaining a, your inner child sticking with you throughout life from here. Um, yeah, what reasons do you see yourself for embarking on an entrepreneurial path and some of the other things we talked about?
Yeah. I have never met a person twice. I've never met a person who's not unique. And I found the same thing to be true about myself, that there has never been a Jeff Gardner before, and there will never likely be, I don't think, another Jeffrey Nathan Gardner. So this unique consciousness in the world. I have my own unique point of perception. And to me, that means that there is something that I can contribute that no one else can contribute, whether it's relatively large or small. There's something unique there. And I think maybe it was Steve Jobs who encouraged, I think it was him who encouraged people to stop looking at the world as this like finished thing that was created by these experts who know more than you do, and to look at the world for what it is something like the structures that we've built and the way the world is. There's an infinite number of problems to be solved. Like that's what entrepreneurship is, right? It's solving problems. So that's how I see it, is taking my own unique point of perception out there and trying to look at the world and see what problems could be solved that I'm capable of doing, that I'm interested in, that resonate with me, that where I can relieve this pain point for people. I just I've done the thing where there's a ready-made job in a corporation where they take all the risk. They've already built this big company from scratch. They got 30,000 employees and they've got a model and they've got a seat for you. They need somebody to fill that seat, and you can do that. Uh, there's something for me that entrepreneurship gives. It's using that unique point of perception to go into the marketplace and try to solve problems that only I can solve. There, that just there's more risk there. There's like, of course, you can fail because you don't have that safe seat. You're not backed by the resources. That company, they're giving you a paycheck whether they succeed or not. Like you get paid first, they get paid last, only if they're successful. Well, when I become an entrepreneur, when I go out there, I get paid last and only if I'm successful. So big risk. But there's also an unlimited ceiling there. And that's what I'm interested in, is that unlimited ceiling of potential. That's what draws me out to take the risk. I'm
Yeah.
still out there. That's kind of the gist of it, though.
What did you say?
I said a lot there, but that's kind of the
Oh yeah. The unlimited, there's not a ceiling. There's not a ceiling, you know. It gives you the infinite heavens above for you to stretch your imagination into for whatever you want to attain. Um, cool, yeah. Yeah, I mean you come from, well, you grew up in such like a corporate sort of location already. I mean, there's a lot of industry where you grew up and obviously you have experience in it. So you got a lot to speak from. And yeah, not so much from me. But Yeah, entrepreneurship to me and just like going down this path, I mean, it's all I've ever known in my family, but it also just seems like you're what you're alluding to and the individuality of nature and like the uniqueness of this body and this per soul and personality that we have in this life. Why are we going to waste it by just trying to stuff ourselves into a box and another cog on the wheel that we got to break our backs to actually get into? And then you know, once we're in there, it can be probably, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, probably pretty hard to get the fuck out of it. Seems like the system's crashing more on people nowadays. People are waking up to the drudgery and you know, but they don't know where to go. And then all it leads you back to is going back to yourself and relying on yourself to create your path and to generate your own creation that the world will hopefully reward you for it. I mean, that's just the real risk. Is the world going to reward me for this or not?
The beautiful thing
Uh,
about it is the world, in at least in a a free marketplace, the world is only going to reward you because you are rewarding them with a great value.
yeah,
You're getting it's an exchange of energy. It's a
yeah,
transaction.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, full
Usually that,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah, full circle. And it's really just like probably one of the greatest edges that we all face in life. It really pushes you to explore all your edges for the most part. Um, I mean, I mean that's got to be one of the most uncomfortable things, going out into this vast, vast, wild world and trying to make something of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, starting this podcast was a bit of a leap to be throwing ideas out there, and it's super rewarding to do that. But man, it brings to mind, I'll never forget my mentor, Mark Michael Lewis, used to say, he used to tell me, like, if you want to develop yourself spiritually, start a business. And I didn't understand for the longest time. I was like, I just don't get like why he thinks that's such a big deal. Like, why not do the spiritual practices and meditate and read spiritual books and different uh, philosophy books and stuff. Like that seems like a better way to develop my internal self. But entrepreneurship is the whole package, just like you said,
Yeah.
because it gets you out of your comfort zone and it has you get to your edges. And when you it's kind of paradoxical. It's when we push to the outer edges that seems to be like the fastest way to learn about ourselves on the inside as
Yeah.
well. There's that
Yeah.
rebounding effect where you push to the outer edges in your physical experience or your relationships with other people, and then that just gets right to the core of you, and then
Yeah.
it shows you who you are in there, and it shows you where you need to make changes and where you need to go.
Yeah, and that's really the only place to make those changes from. You know, it's like trying to find an analogy for this. Yeah, the fastest growth is at the edge. It really is. Like residing as close to it as possible. Whatever your edge is, like just living in that hemisphere,
Oh,
quickest way to push it
absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. I mean, there's even kind of a formula around it, the zone of proximal development that's started to be adopted with teaching, especially with students, like young students, where
Yeah.
you go to the edge of your capability, where you're doing something or I think it's like there's kind of like a few zones, and one of them is the zone of proximal development. It's like in this zone, there are things that you can do all by yourself and you're good at them. And then in this zone here, there's things that you can just do if you have help from an experienced mentor. And then out here is things that you have no idea how to do, and you still have a lot of development. And this one here, this middle one, is the zone of proximal development. And it's like,
Mm,
to accelerate your growth, that's where you want to be. You want to be just
yeah.
at the edge of your capability. And ideally
Yeah.
with someone who's knows the ropes, who can help guide you to the next stage. So you can get that, so you can move that material into the known. But then you got to stay on the edge. Then you got to go back into the zone and stay on
Yeah.
that edge. That's where it's at.
Damn, you just brought up a really big topic that we don't have time for, but is really fascinating to me and definitely needs to be highlighted in all of our lives, going to the edge and practicing what you're talking about. It's so profound. It's literally going back to the tree. I mean, it's how a fucking tree grows. Grows outward like this. Gotta go to the edge. Man, it's so profound. It's so simple too.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think a lot of the deepest insights are actually simple to understand. Once you grasp it, it's kind of like no duh, but it can be difficult to practice because it takes that courage and that awareness that we got to be ruthlessly honest with ourselves
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
self-deceiving. You know, it can
And
be
because
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of sometimes deceiving myself that I'm doing all I can and that I'm living on the edge. But maybe some of these projects that I was doing, those were my edge 6 months ago. But are they
yes,
still my edge? Like, am I
exactly.
still really pushing
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and just one more thing is like I don't even know if we got time, but
Yeah, we do.
comfort gets so this is what the problem is with comfort. It keeps you from the edge. You like see the edge from your comfort zone. It's like off in the distance, and you're like, oh yeah, that over there. Yeah, that's the shadow. It's like Lion's King, you know, it's like Mufasa telling Simba, don't go in the shadow, don't go in the edge over there. He goes in the edge, and you know, that's how he becomes a man and blah 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 blah. But the comfort zone is what stifles everyone, especially when you get older, because people get more and more scared to go on the edge. So we have to practice till the day we fucking die, continuing to push that edge and actually getting to the place where maybe we don't even have an edge anymore. Maybe we're just like we freed ourselves, we liberated ourselves to the point where life is basically just a free run now, and we're able to experience it in love, joy, and happiness most of the time.
Yeah, perhaps we can only hope. I don't know that you know once you live on it, the edge is a pretty cool place to be. So I
Yeah,
think I'm cool if that edge never fades. Uh,
yeah,
but either way, yeah, dude, fascinating. We may have to make another episode about it.
yeah. All right, let's wrap it up. And yeah, man, we will be hopping on here again soon.
Cool. Can't wait. Much love.
All right, peace, bro.